Hello? Hi. What's this thing on? Is the YouTube stuff working now? Wow, I see buttons. End stream. What? Wow, you mean things are working now? Wow. Yeah. The theory is, according to Aline, is Ninja Theory cut my power so I wouldn't beat the game. That's the running theory now. They wouldn't let me finish the game. They took me down in the middle of the fight against the beasts. So now we must launch the game and see where we last left things off. Okay. Let's see where that takes us. Thanks for being patient with me, everyone. I'm sorry for the break in immersion. I'm gonna shake my fist at whatever forces in the world decided the power should go out in my house for like 30 seconds. But here we go. Alright. I will launch the game, I'll get my drink, and I'll be right back to continue this game. Yeah, it's pretty much that. I honestly think that YouTube is fantastic for the live stream player and how high you can push the resolution and the encoding on that. I don't think it has a great chat experience, but I think it's incredible how much you can do with YouTube in terms of a stream and how it's so much better on there. But yeah, Twitch has the better community experience at the end of the day. All right, let's continue. Oh, right back into the fight. Okay, here we go. Throw me in, coach. I'm ready. Again. We need a perfect parry for us to get out. There we go.
Look. We must find him now.
Oh god. I keep running into that even though I use focus. Get up!
She's injured. She won't make it.
Gotcha. What's happening?
Get to the lock. You must get rid of the
Was it down? smacked. It jumped again.
She's hurt. She won't make it.
Come on. Where'd you go? Oh my god.
Behind you.
Oh!
Behind you.
What's with the camera? Is this supposed to be like this? Oh my god. That was Fenrir? Jeez. Oh my god. Senua!
People think of evil as an unnatural,
Shivers.
invisible force, and so invoke the gods for protection. But evil can come from the hand behind the gods. A familiar hand, cold and cruel. He tried to fix her with his rituals, kept her trapped in that hole. She couldn't say which was worse.
Really? He
The
really did
darkness.
this to her?
Or the monster that her father had become. She couldn't fight them both. And so she left, headed for the one ray of light that shone down on her. If she had stayed, she wouldn't have survived. But maybe Dillion would still be alive.
But that breathing is so eerie.
Sorry, my love. She will save his soul. Even if this time she can't save her own.
The ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate price.
Forgive me,
Hey, RJ.
Senua. I know you have no reason to trust me anymore,
Shadow. Listen.
but believe this. It was my mission to make you hate. To hate the darkness with a passion so great it would focus your mind on this quest. For without it,
Listen.
I feared you would have let go of slack. All this time, I've wanted to protect you from the truth that would have destroyed you a long time ago.
Follow.
But you have conquered your darkness at every turn.
Stay alert, Senua.
You deserve to see behind the veil of darkness.
Then take me to
He
the
wants
mountain,
her to trust him.
as deep as we can go.
I won't stand in your way.
She has to trust him.
You will not survive what is in there.
I know.
What else can she do? Nothing. She doesn't want to tell. She has nothing. She hasn't. She's come.
Yeah, when people didn't really understand what struggles look like, that they didn't empathize or sympathize with it, then
She must listen to the shadow.
they probably did all manners of messed up things to those people.
Keep going, Senua. Just keep going. It's too dangerous. I know. Distraction.
What is this sulfur rising from the mountain?
What? Hella's gate. Hella's gate. Hella. She's there.
Mother, I won't let the darkness trick me again.
You've been waiting.
No,
I know
Garmin
you
is
say
a
gods.
company that makes navigation systems.
I can feel Hella's gaze, searching for secrets inside of me. Secrets that even I can't see. I'm not here to fight my past. I'm here for Dillion. I will fulfill my vow, whatever the cost.
Something here.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end. They call this Ragnarok, the destiny of the gods. First, there will be a terrible winter, 3 years long. Then, mankind will turn on itself. Brothers will fight each other to the death, and people will forget what they owe their kindred. Times will be hard. Crimes will be great. It will be an age of axes and swords. The wind will blow through abandoned halls. Wolves will walk where children played. The world will fall into
Hella has defeated
I am strong enough. Just you watch. Where am I now?
gave you the rot. Look at your arm. Look what Hella's done to you in front of this way. You can't let it go now. It's the only way. You have to do it.
You have to fight on. The final battle.
Get his soul back. It's the final
Do I not have my sword? No, I do. His soul, okay.
The end is in sight.
Do you want to
Oh,
leave
there.
Dillion here with Hella?
Are you strong enough?
She's strong.
She did it.
Put together parts of the bridge. I mean, yeah, this probably is the chaos of her mind. I do like, however, every now and then one of them will cheer for her. Oh. Shield guy.
End it. No. This is nearly the end. Watch out. Focus now.
These are a little hard to see sometimes. There's so many of them.
Behind you.
Oh god, this guy.
Finish this. End it now.
God. Okay.
How will she?
Where was I headed? Back down.
What will she do?
We did beat the boss, yeah, Envy.
How's she going to find?
Interesting things about Fae stories. People believe that the Fae would steal away their children and replace them with one of their own. It looked the same, but was wrong. The story evolved into the myth of changeling. Current understanding is it was autism. Around the age where you notice your child isn't developing socially properly is when kids will be taken away by fair folk and people can understand. Oh, that's interesting. If that really is like
No one can bargain
some of
with
the
her.
explanations that people had.
Give her. She could give her her own soul. No. Her soul's rotten.
Very heartbreaking.
She can see it. The bridge. She can't cross the bridge. It's broken. She has to fix it. It's too dangerous.
thought of being burned at the stake under assumption of being a witch or the like, all because of mental illness. Yeah, it's very, very heartbreaking. I imagine it wasn't uncommon either to have some sort of mental illness.
The bridge. She can't cross the bridge. It's broken.
Yeah, I know.
She has to fix it.
It's too dangerous.
She's done it before. You have to fight on.
Be powerful.
The final battle.
Get his soul back. It's the final task.
Yes, it is.
Few
This
parts
isn't
of
just
the
a
bridge
broken
remain.
bridge, is it? Mother, you showed me how to see further. To see the hidden wonders in our world and explore new paths into the unknown. To lead so that others may follow, or to warn so that they may avoid. That is our gift and our duty.
It's interesting that she calls it a gift now and a duty.
I'm not going to look away in fear anymore.
Their watchmen will blow the horn that can be heard through the whole world. And
I need to do
Odin
that again.
will speak. The Northmen say the gods will fight their last battle at Ragnarok. Their watchmen will blow the horn that can be heard through the whole world. And Odin will speak with the severed head of Mimir, which gives him good counsel. The land of the giants will thunder with the sound of their army on the move. The gods will assemble. The dwarves will leave their stones. The frost giants will come from the east. The Midgard serpent will turn up the waves. Eagles will scream and tear at the corpses with their yellow beaks. The ship of the dead will set sail.
I feel like I'm not in the right place for this. We gotta go higher. Here.
She can do it. She can do it. She can still see the secrets of the gods. She thinks differently. So special.
So how do we cross the last part?
She must see. She has the sight. She can see the secrets.
Only a portion of the bridge has been fixed. Another portion remains.
There's an illusion. She's found a way. There's a way. She can see. She must align herself. She can do it. There's the door. She aligns herself.
Yeah, I know I need to align myself, but where? Thank you, son. I had an unfortunate crash at the last boss, but we'll prevail. Okay. Bye, son. See you later. Take care. Yeah, we are nowhere near figuring out how to align this. Hey, Figbar. Now might be a great time. The next game comes out next week. It's not that long of an experience, I would say. Probably a good game for the weekends. If you were keen to play it. Maybe from here? It almost feels like I need to be off to the right to see this shift in perspective. But I don't know how to get there. How do... Where is it? Where must I stand? Just looks all weird and warped here, like clearly we're not in the right position. Any clues, chat? I don't think I've struggled as much as I have now. Oh, I see it, never mind. I see we made a door. I think the worst is easy to forget to stop and digest things. Take things and take your time, which is I could definitely see being easy to do as a streamer. The forgetting part, yeah. I feel like generally on streams there's always the sense of progress first and foremost.
Say that at Ragnarok the gods will face a ship full of their foes, which Loki has steered to Asgard. It carries the fire giants, the wolf that will eat the sun, and all kinds of dark creatures. Surt will join them with his sword of fire. The cliffs will crash, trolls will walk the land, men will tread the road to hell, and the heavens will split open.
It depends on which character I would get to be in a Tomb Raider or God of War world, but God of War probably would be a bit more interesting overall. Unless you're Tomb Raider herself, then maybe it would be really fascinating. Okay, let's go with it. Well, the thing that I need to take some time processing is like all these things happening to Senua, and then just kind of like letting your brain ruminate on it and try like connect the dots. I mean, I'm being less chatty in general, just so I could give my brain some time to just like digest all these words being said at me and then make sense of them. Yeah, I don't think I would say this is a weird stream for me because I'm interacting with people much less than I normally do. So I am leaning into it, but I talked about this yesterday. Sometimes I feel like games should have not warnings, but like how to best experience this game, like sort of tooltips at the beginning. Like imagine the first screen you come across, it's like play this game in the dark for the most immersive experience, you know? Or something along those lines, or best played with like controller or whatever it is. Those kind of things can be really like great notes to have for a player. Whoa, you're new. Are you? No. Okay, we faced you before. You did look new though. I heard something else here. Brutal to stick another one on me. What? Is that a game crash or a death? That was a death? What the heck? That seemed really strange. Like, whatever happened there was really bizarre. Yeah, some kind of weird happening. Why are there two of them? Charge attack is so brutal.
She's injured. She can still do it.
I hear another one as well.
Don't let them get behind you. Keep them in sight.
What happened to his shield? Dang, it looks super bust. Broke inside him.
It's building.
Oh, God, what the? Didn't see him coming.
Behind you.
Yeah, the camera looks really weird. Yeah, and also, I didn't even see another enemy. It's almost like they were concealed or something like that. That was a very weird transition, though. I think that's what cost us a death there. There we go. I see, I know. Ninja Theory is cruel, huh? You just can't take people being okay at playing their game. The combat is very satisfactory, Figbar. Like, from both the fast attacks to the heavy attacks, the parries, the evasions. Like, there is no lock-on system, but if someone's coming at you from behind and you listen and you're paying attention to the cues, you can parry them and you can just focus on the enemy you have in front of you. You think Mafia 4 is gonna happen? Someone came in and mentioned Yakuza, like real Yakuza play with controller or something like that. I played the first Mafia. It was remastered, I believe, like not too long ago. It was a pretty good game. We have found our last obstacle, a bridge that potentially sends us to Hell, where we face Hela as our last enemy, I think. Oh, push him off. Push him off. Bye. I wonder if he could be pushed off. No, I don't think he moves. Another one. god, there's too many. Jeez, come on. I'm not gonna die to this. Come on, get up, Senua.
She's injured. Behind you. He's down. Focus. Focus. Stop them.
God dang it. Are you for real? Are you for real? Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up!
It's not over. It's not over. Do keep going. She finished him.
There's so many! I won't let you defeat me.
It's nearly over. Finish it.
Jeez.
The path to Hela. I can sense her.
That bridge is a tough spot to fight enemies.
She's getting closer to Hela. She's going to die. I'm scared. Wait. What happens when she...
What happens when she dies is a really fantastic question.
What? What happens when she dies? What happens to us?
Yeah, I'm holding my breath during combat too.
We die too. Do we die too? We die too. I don't want to.
We'll all die someday.
I don't want to die.
And when everyone's gone, even the gods will die.
I don't want to die. We don't want to die.
I don't want to die.
Senua, stop.
Turn back. Stop. Stop her.
Why is she going? Stop.
Senua, stop. What
stop.
happens to us?
Why won't she stop to die?
You're all part of me,
Stop.
and we're going in.
I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
I'm sorry. I didn't ask you to be a part of me. If you don't want to die with me, then leave me alone.
I don't want to die. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop.
Them begging for their lives is so interesting.
Stop. You'll never come back if you go there.
There is nothing to go back to.
We only have each other now. Don't abandon me.
Everyone suffers. They were right about me.
Listen to me, not them.
Whoa.
They were afraid. Like children scared
It's
of
like the
dark.
dark version of her.
So was I.
They made up monsters to fill the void. That doesn't make them real.
They made them real.
No!
Follow your soul and let go of the Senua of old. For there lies your weakness, and the darkness will find it.
It's not like the old stories, is it? The noble warrior facing evil in search of victory and honor. Clear dividing lines. No. Oh, this place is not quite like that. It's as if it knows that true torment lies within. Memories you cannot defeat, cannot escape. This is her hell.
There's some I missed. Shame. God. Is that her mother?
Wait,
Mother!
don't see me like this. Turn away, Senua! Turn away, Senua!
Is that why she's half burnt? Half flesh? That won't be her mom, is it?
You see the darkness.
She is Hell.
Faces fear and suffering.
She is Hella. That would make sense if she actually was Hella. Hold on. I'm not gonna jump conclusions.
I remember it clearly now.
She has nothing to fear anymore. The gods have saved your mother. Through my hand.
You killed her.
It looks like Palpatine
This
speaking
is
to
the
her.
will of the gods.
Fuck the gods! You did this to her! Why?
This is what happens when you listen to the voices of the underworld. They crawl into your soul and rot you from the inside. Defy the gods like your mother, and the darkness will come for you too. You understand, Senua?
I do understand. You cursed me with your own madness. I was just a child. You created this darkness! You created this darkness so you could hide behind it!
Only suffering brings salvation. It is the way of the gods.
It was all a lie.
Okay.
You are a lie! She didn't defy the gods. She defied you. And so you killed her.
You didn't pray to the gods. You prayed to your mother. Your mother, who was too weak to fight the darkness and abandoned you.
You tortured her. You killed her. You are the darkness.
Those rituals, the years of isolation, the pain that still haunts you. It was the only way to fight the curse within you.
You're a liar.
The darkness is inside you and it will destroy you.
You're a liar!
No, Senua. The darkness is here. You cannot wish it away. And it will watch as you draw your last dying gasp.
I won't let you kill me.
Okay, fight. Like a warrior, Senua. No hesitation. Leap through your enemies. And the darkness and the fears and everything.
Watch out.
Nice. Get him. Nice dodge.
I can see through your darkness. You're a liar and a murderer. And if you really are Hela, then I have a sword here that can kill a god.
Fight me. It's also hype when you nail the fighting as well. Like, it's part of the experience, you know?
Look at you. Running forward and moving backwards to wallow in your miserable past. You're making a mistake searching for Dillion. The same mistake that killed him in the first place. I'm trying to save you from yourself. You still believe it is a lie? The plague of darkness, the butchering of Dillion by the Northmen. You saw it yourself.
You told everyone I was cursed. They believed you. I believed you.
Tell me, Senua, where is Dillion so that the darkness is a lie? How you saved him?
He's here. I know he's here.
Hi, Hiroshi.
I know you're here. Hold on. I'll find you.
Fighting Velraven again? Okay. Can't tell what it's doing when it's a mist like this. Oh crap, I didn't realize it was throwing them. Oh god, really? You wouldn't. Would you? What am I fighting? Beast, Searcher, Velraven. What more?
To trick me again with your lies. I know he's here. You took him from me. You have him.
Dillion is gone.
can you do to me that you haven't already?
You
Fight
betrayed
me!
your own father.
Come on!
You betrayed the gods in search of Dillion, in search of love. Look where that's got you.
There's too many.
Let go of your battle. Let go of redemption.
Behind you.
Let go of Dillion.
I won't.
Don't let your darkness
No matter what you throw at me.
anyone else.
Dang it. And everything? Oh my god.
Let go of your battle.
I won't.
Let go of Dillion. Watch out.
Jeez, what the heck? They threw too much at me. I think probably it was intentional. How long could you survive? Maybe. There's Dillion's head, and there's Hela. It's such a tiny sword in your arms. Her crawling despite the pain just to keep a promise.
If you're alive, and there's no darkness, then you never took him from me, did you? And I can't save Dillion.
Starting to lose it.
Is that what you want me to believe? After all you've done to me? And to him? You're not a lie, but you're a liar! You crawled into me to confuse me and deceive me. But I know he's here. I know you have him. I'll give you my life. That's what you want, isn't it? My soul. Take it. I'll be a slave for you. I'll fight with you at Ragnarok. If you release it.
The way that we're always... The thing that she's looking at, like it's from our eyes. Even when she spoke to all these people, she was looking at us. And we were her eyes there for a moment.
But if you won't, you will have to kill me. Because I've got nothing left. No fear. No hate. No quest. Nothing. And you will have no power over me.
So unnerving the way she looks at you like that. Wheezing.
I learned the hard way to not be afraid of death, Senua. Because a life without loss is one without love. You turn your back on death, and all you can see is the shadow that it casts. The longer you hide from it, the longer the shadow grows until...
Make me like one of your friends. She ran from death.
When our time comes, we must look death in the eye and embrace it as a friend. Only then can we let go of our fear. And emerge from our darkness.
Look at the blood marks around the eyes and mouth. I have so many questions about this moment right here. All the runes inscribed into her. They're runes. But I don't know what the runes say because I don't understand them.
Never forget what it is like to see the world as a child, Senua. Every autumn leaf is like a work of art. Every rolling cloud a moving picture. Every day a new story. We too emerge from this magic, like a wave from the ocean, only to return to the sea.
You hear the children voices now?
Goodbye, my love.
Do not mourn the waves, the leaves, and the clouds. Even in darkness, the wonder and the beauty of this world never leaves us. It is always there, waiting to be seen again.
It only makes you wonder, without darkness you don't see lights.
Wait. What is it? It feels... It's different. It feels... Is it okay?
This is where my story once began. And so it has to end here. Because I cannot see further than this.
Follow us. We have another story to tell.
My friend, go with her. This now will be your story to witness. Goodbye.
So she did defeat Hela? There's a lot of questions running through my head now. It feels like only playing it again will kind of solidify some of these thoughts I have. Wow. Hey, tacos. It's so incredibly well made, but it has you questioning so many things at the end. Who she really is, why she went on this journey, what the struggles were, her relationship with her father, what was she pushed to, how much of it was real that she saw. It almost feels like, what if the darkness was her own making, but what if she had to face the darkness to be able to see past it? What if this was the lesson that she wanted, or she had to learn? Because at every point, the darkness tried to tell her not to go forward, not to continue, but every time she pushed forward, she got further, she faced her demons. I don't know. Are there answers to be had here I didn't grasp? That's the question I want to ask. Because we have some like documentary stuff to watch too, but maybe watching like video essays, that was a good way to go about it as well. See shadows, Zimbel. The shadow. There's an alternative ending scene. Okay. Now I know a bit more about the voice and shadow and stuff. It almost feels like a replay is necessary to really grasp it. You got a different ending when you played? There are two? How did the two differ? Based on what? The choices you make or the amounts of times you've died? As symbolic? One for collecting all the runes, okay. Just adds a bit to the ending, yeah. When I played this, I thought the last basilisk was with tears streaming down my face because the emotions the game was leading me to feel were almost overwhelming to me. Yeah, I understand that, Damon. I felt like drawn into that moment. I felt so much terror for Senua in this last segment. There's a certain thing about not only psychosis, but depression, hope, denial, acceptance. It can be seen as an allegory for grief in general. Your body tells you not to think about it, not to proceed forwards, because whilst you're in denial, there's no finality. Stepping forward is progress towards recovery, but also having to accept the truth. I feel like there was a part of her that had to go through this to know that she had to let go of Dillion. The alternate ending for what? The runes? Or the one that you got? Yeah, it's a great moment. Okay. Who was what, Big Bar? To let go alongside Senua, yeah. Her lover is Dillion, the head that she was carrying around. I don't know if it necessarily was like a partner or husband or what, but someone she loved. Yeah, they do make you feel terror in them. Like, I don't know what it is about them, but I think like from the minute that you start this game and stand along Senua, the way she looks at you, the way you're next to her, the way, you know, the camera swivels and everything, it just makes you feel so much for her in these moments. An extra cutscene, the ending doesn't significantly change unless I'm majorly missing something. So wait, what's the alternate ending based on? I'm not talking about the rune ending. What's the alternate ending based on? It's the head of the party. If you didn't catch it, the last part can literally go on forever until you get downed enough. It's honestly mean but smart. Yeah, I've thought that was the case. Like, it felt like it was too much, and when they were throwing that much at me, I was like, there's no way they think I can survive this. Because when I turned around and turned my camera, I saw another beast behind us. And I was like, no way, they just got another beast. And more kept coming. So you probably could fight for very long, but at some point you will fail and you will falter and you will wear down, even as a player. And like, they make you feel that. But then when you see, like, what gave it away, honestly, was the fact that I got an achievement there. The rot as well, you were lied to. That you weren't going to die and lose progress. Why did the music go away? There is supposed to be some music here, isn't there? There's only one ending. The runes just add more to it. You get more dialogue with Ruth. Okay. Let's see. Now I didn't try to miss some stuff with Ruth. I just didn't realize its purpose at the very beginning, and then I was like, oh, okay. The game for ages has made you somewhat ignore the voices, but the one time they tell you to give up, they were right. I wonder in what sense they meant give up, though. I guess because that could have so many meanings based on the context. The game does a very good job of exploring emotions, denial, delusion, hallucination. As someone who has a vision quest, the game accurately portrays how your own thoughts and feelings form what you will encounter. Want to see the alternate ending? Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Because we're gonna watch some of the making of. Like, I feel like even with a game like this, chat, like, it's so hard to like sit and process all of my emotions about it, because I feel like I would have to like literally sit here for like half an hour to like feel everything I'm feeling, to like just sit here quietly and think about it. So it almost feels like I can't necessarily do that, but some of it will definitely course through me. As was there no after credits scene or just an alternate ending? I like that there's a chapter selection now, because I can go back and get the lore stones. I would say it wasn't that long of an experience. Maybe like 7 hours. I haven't watched the feature, no. Is it worth watching? One sec. make a timestamp in this? 24 minutes? Okay. Oh yeah, there's... I might need a timestamp for this, yeah. It's definitely a long clip. Hi Greg, see you later. Okay. Alright. I will add that, thank you. Okay, let me just put on this, I need to turn up the volume here. Let's put this on screen. See the alternate ending. Wow, you can really tell the difference in the graphics of what I just played versus this. Like, I don't know whether it's how this person's recording it, or whether this is the PlayStation graphics versus what I just played, but there's a very significant difference. Or maybe just the recording bitrate of this person and stuff. Yeah, you can link something. Yeah, but I don't know how they're recording this as well, so it could impact the visuals as well.
But you never took him from me, did you? And I can't save Dillion.
Yeah, Meishi.
Is that what you want me to believe? After all you've done to me? And to him? You're not a lie, but you're a liar! You crawled into me to confuse me and deceive me. But I know it. I know you have him. I'll give you my life. That's what you want, isn't it? My soul. Take it. I'll be a slave for you. I'll fight with you at Ragnarok. If you release it.
because I've got nothing left. No fear. No hate. No quest. Nothing. And you will have no power over me.
I wonder if this is the moment she... No, Apollo, this is literally the end of the game. It's an alternate ending.
I learned the hard way to not be afraid of death, Senua. Because a life without loss is one without love. You turn your back on death, and all you can see is the shadow that it casts. The longer you hide from it, the longer the shadow grows until all you can see is darkness. When our time comes, we must look death in the eye and embrace it as a friend. Only then can we let go of our fear. And emerge from our darkness.
Never forget what it is like to see the world as a child, Senua. Every autumn leaf is like a work of art. Every rolling cloud a moving picture. Every day a new story. We too emerge from this magic, like a wave from the ocean, only to return to the sea.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it changes here. But so far everything's been the same. The extra scene comes before this.
Do not mourn the waves.
Hey, fresh fruit.
The leaves and the clouds.
Oh yeah?
Even in darkness.
I don't know,
the wonder and the beauty
gave me this link with the timestamp.
It is always there, waiting to be seen again.
Before you enter the last part. So when you touch the skates.
This is what happens when you listen to the voices of the...
A
Here?
noble warrior facing evil in search of victory and honor. Oh, this place. It knows that true torment lies within. Memories you cannot defeat, cannot escape. This is her hell.
I had like maybe 7 missing runes. Oh, there.
The man I was
Earth.
before Druth. Was a true coward, Senua. I was well traveled. I spoke both their tongue and ours. So they took me as a slave. I thought I could help to broker peace. Or at least stay their hands from slaughter. But under torture, I did no such thing. I led them to the treasures and slaves they sought.
He was the reason Dillion died.
But I wasn't the only one. Another came to the Northmen willingly, offering a bargain, a man in black from your lands. And he was offered safe passage for his treason. In the end, Senua, it isn't the gods that cause us so much suffering,
Humans.
but those closest to us.
So who is the person in black? The traitor. Was it her father? Yeah. He was the only person we've seen in black.
No. I'm here for Dillion.
Okay. Oh, that's rough. That is definitely rough. Okay. You said the feature film is something worth watching? That's okay, Amber. You do you. I also have some behind the scenes stuff as well. I don't have a favorite Cypher. I don't know them very well to really have a favorite, honestly. Okay. We can watch the Hellblade feature, but I need to use the restroom really quickly before we do so, okay? Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Okay. Hey, Dillion. Oh, alright, let's watch this feature. I might have some other videos lined up, but we'll see which ones we watch. You can tell me which ones I should, or if you have seen them or not. But check out the Hellblade feature. Now that we're done. B, thank you for the 37 months. Thank you for the tier 3. What the heck?
She's dreamt of this before.
It's coming.
Thanks, B. Appreciate it. Welcome back.
They say dreams are visions of our memories, thoughts, and fears.
Oh, I wish I could have had
Seen by
subtitles
our
for
inner
this.
eye. But what if each one of us is always dreaming, even when awake? And we only see what our inner eye creates for us. Is this what hell is? A world shaped by Senua's nightmares.
That's a good way to go about making a game.
Maybe that's why people feel
Getting
seen
consultants
before
on
our eyes.
board. Advisors. Not
Because
just
if you believe that
speculating.
Senua's reality is twisted, you must accept that yours might be too.
Senua's psychosis. It's
Hellblade:
very good,
Senua's
B.
Sacrifice is a video game about Senua, a Celtic warrior on a vision quest into Viking territory.
Okay, alright. There are subtitles, that's good. We'll see how many of our speculations are kind of right based on like the synopsis and what they kind of go into detail here. But by the way, there is a, I think a Humble Bundle sale on Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice now for PC. And if you want, you can always use my Humble Bundle code as well. So that I sometimes get some support from any purchases you make off Humble Bundle, but definitely worth a weekend play, honestly.
But what sets our hero Senua apart is that she suffers from severe psychotic mental illness.
He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting closer. They're watching.
The original idea for Hellblade was to create a classic hero's journey, a journey of suffering, but one where the fantasy world is not another planet or alternate universe, but a world that is constructed in Senua's mind. But to do so would mean putting psychotic mental illness at the center of the experience, a subject that is still considered taboo, and a challenge that was both terrifying and exciting in equal measure. In Hellblade, the starting point was a newly discovered Celtic goddess called Senua in Ashewyn, Hertfordshire. When first discovered, her name was thought to be Senua, a name which I liked and kept. I wondered if Senua might have been a Celtic warrior like Boudica who stood up to the Romans. While the Romans had conquered all of Europe, there was a group of Celts up in the furthest reaches of the Roman Empire that could not be conquered, the Picts. And so the Romans built a wall, called Hadrian's Wall, that spans across Britain from sea to sea to keep the Pictish barbarians at bay. The Picts were known for their war paint, painted on with woad, and their matted hair clumped with lime. And so Senua would be a barbarian Pict in this image.
What's your name?
The most interesting point that they've made here is that, like, all of this is just the making of her own psychosis, and it isn't really there.
Senua,
I haven't seen you before.
I don't live home much.
Oh, Zeno's daughter.
I have to go.
Wait.
Orkney is off the coast of Scotland and was inhabited by the Picts, steeped in history and mystery, and so I made Orkney Senua's home and set the stage for a crisis. In the late 8th century, the first Vikings landed on the Orkney Islands.
Yeah, this is
The
what kind of
population
gave
the
away
Picts
that
crashed
they weren't
thereafter,
Norsemen
replaced by the
themselves.
Norsemen of the 9th century. Were they wiped out? We don't know for sure, but it would seem likely given the reputation of the Vikings. The Northmen's brutality is legendary. High-ranking leaders and chieftains of the tribes they conquered were often offered as sacrifice to their gods.
Like, this walking here to, like, see Dillion hanging up just, like, is like, yep, this is typical Viking pillaging and raiding habits.
The brutal of these sacrifices was known as the Blood Eagle. I imagine Senua as a young female warrior who returns home from exile to
So
find
that's
her
what that is, a
partner,
blood
Dillion,
eagle.
brutally sacrificed to a Norse god by these hellish warriors from a faraway land. I imagine the horror of this moment and how it would have dragged her deep into mental torment.
Yeah. You can tell that this is kind of a turning point here for Senua. Like, if she was finding ways to deal with what she was experiencing in life, she may have found some peace with it or some ease with it, but then here, in this moment, it all comes flooding back. She almost looks like scared that it's happening again, like the torment, the guilt, the fear. We Lauren? Yes, Vorpal, hi. Well, we're watching some feature films and stuff.
I came to learn that the Celts had a sophisticated and nuanced perspective on the nature of mental disorder. One term they used was gelt. A gelt is a man or woman who has been driven mad.
Yeah, I probably have it in my Discord. I'm sorry, I don't have a command for it. And I also, someone typed in the Halo command earlier, but our stream went down because the power literally cut out while I was streaming earlier. So like everything that I had running in the background has switched off. So even my bot isn't working, but it just reminds me now that I can turn this stuff back on. Everything is broken. Like, I was in the middle of like an intense fight and my power goes out. Good stuff, good stuff. Why is my Discord not loading? Taking 10 years. 10 heckin' long years. Okay. I really should make a command for it again on Twitch. So if you just use this link, and then if you make any purchases on Humble Bundle using that link, that will basically support me. So if you wanted to pick up Hellblade, it is for sale this week.
Trauma or grief. The Gelt would take to a life in the woods in search of penance, punishment, and purgation.
So that's what Dearth
And
was
so
as
Senua
well.
became a Gelt, cursed by darkness, looking for redemption in the wilds. Another word the Celts used in reference to mental disorders was truth, meaning fool, or
Liar.
one who utters the words of God. They tell of the mad sinner who flees battle into exile and takes on a beastly nature, growing feathers on his body. The character called Druth in Hellblade is based on a little-known person called Findan, an 8th century Irish Celt who was captured and enslaved by the Vikings, but eventually escaped to Orkney where he became a monk.
I will tell you my stories of hell, if
Interesting.
I may walk with you.
Upon meeting Senua, it would be his stories that fuel her quest deep into their world of gods.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end. The sun will grow black, the earth will sink into the sea, the stars will disappear, fire and water will meet, flames will play against the sky, the heavens and earth and all the world will be burned, all the gods will be dead, and the warriors of Valhalla and people everywhere. Prepare yourself for Ragnarok, for it is nigh.
So the stage was set for a new adventure, a journey into the Norse underworld called Hell, a vision quest fueled by madness and myth, a fantasy that was created by Senua's own mind, and one that we would experience through her eyes.
Makes me wonder if it is a fantasy, was any of it real? Were the movements of, like, where do the edges of fantasy and reality, like, meet here? They would string them up on 2 poles, cut their back open, have their backskin flapping, symbolizing the eagle, a slow, horrible death, hanging there, bleeding out and burning in the sun. I've heard of this.
Is your mission. This is your quest. There is nothing else left.
To make a game about a warrior with psychotic mental illness as its central theme was fraught with danger. Mental illness, such as psychosis, is still taboo and rarely acknowledged in a century of cinema. Never
Yeah, it
mind
makes me
the
wonder,
movie
like,
game.
did she fight
Where
real
it does
things in
feature,
real
it
life, you
often
know?
conflates psychosis and psychopathy.
Was she swinging at
associated with
something
a lack
real?
of empathy. It is unfortunate that these two words sound so similar that they are used interchangeably in media. I must admit that I didn't have to look very far to discover my own ignorance of the subject. So
That's for a lot of things. When we talk about like mental illnesses and even just like ableism and stuff like that, there's a lot of things that we don't understand when we use our own languages, where their roots are from and the misunderstandings that we have. Like one of them that really pisses me off, like this is just from a personal standpoint, narcissism is a widely misused and misunderstood term. Like how in this modern world, people throw the word gaslight around, but they don't really know what gaslight even means. But like narcissism is something that is very deeply misunderstood. People think that, and I understand where it comes from, like narcissists and stuff like that, is just like this egotistical person that likes looking at themselves and they're very vain and stuff like that. But there's more to narcissism than that. So I feel like a lot of these things are often misunderstood in words that are thrown around in the most basic of meanings. Like the most basic of meanings, and then it's like we misuse them in a lot of different ways.
We reached out to Paul Fletcher, psychiatrist and professor of health neuroscience at University of Cambridge.
Psychosis is a descriptive term, and it refers to having a loss of contact with objective reality. So it's characterized by two main sets of symptoms. One of them is hallucinations, where somebody experiences perceptions when there is no actual objective thing out there to perceive.
You're already dead. Who are you?
And the other is delusions, where somebody comes to very often bizarre, unpleasant, frightening beliefs when there's no good evidence in favor of them.
There's no doubt about it. The source of the darkness is in Helheim, and the goddess Hela holds his soul there.
We reached out to Welcome, a biomedical research charity that spends billions on research and awareness programs aimed at improving health.
Mental health hasn't always been presented in the media in a way that is particularly helpful. It can be challenging to engage people with the subject matter, and there are a lot of preconceived ideas about mental health, and particularly
also schizophrenia
and psychosis.
And
so we hope our support allows the team to continue to collaborate with Paul Fletcher
what's it called?
And with those who have experience of psychosis.
Bipolar disorder are very
provides
misunderstood.
a fresh perspective
Severely
on the condition, and allows audiences to engage with it in a way that just wouldn't be possible in any other medium.
What started out as a brief consultation convinced me that we were only scratching the surface of an immensely deep and interesting subject that could enrich and change the very nature of the game.
That's cool. Thanks so much for coming here.
Pleasure. Thanks. It's really interesting for me. I'd love to be involved. It's fascinating.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Our understanding of psychosis is still very much a mystery.
I mean, the interesting part here is, one, it feels like she wanted to forget the memories of her mother, of what had happened to her. Her mother suffering from mental illness too is also very interesting, because often a lot of these things can be genetic, can be passed on, can be things that the children experience as well. And also in a way, Senua looks up to her mom because she's the only person who she can relate to, because her mom would often talk about these stories about what it felt like to be wrapped in darkness. And Senua could really relate to that, while everyone else treated her like an aberration or something was wrong with her. I think Dillion was the only one that, didn't want to see her for just her mental illnesses, but that there is a person behind it all. So that's why she has such a strong attachment to Dillion as well, because Dillion was a world perspective she had never seen before. So basically the story is about Senua overcoming manifestations of her past trauma, or abused by her father, killed her mother, also has some sort of mental illness. Hi Eric, honey, good to see you. We're doing some Hellblade feature film stuff and talking about things. I don't like that. Like, I feel like it's on us not to throw around the words like crazy and schizo and things like that when people are behaving unreasonable, because like that's such a weird like way to just put that on someone when it has nothing to do with the actual mental illness. But yeah, it's like a whole other problem on its own. Rather experience something like dissociative amnesia, where those specific memories were essentially just locked away. I mean, it could be the fact that like her father was just so terrible she didn't even remember the memories surrounding how horrible her mother's death was. There's a crossover of a lot of things. Schizophrenia, bipolar, borderline personality disorder all have a connection. Further, actual narcissism has some potential links to it, and now it's thought to be related to these. We actually have data that ADHD in children of people who had these conditions is quite common, and up to 25% of such people with ADHD will eventually experience psychosis. Yeah, I think the word here, Gorka, is comorbidities, and people are learning more and more about like how these mental illnesses may be connected in one way or form. And while we may not have like full-fledged like, you know, problems in one area, we could have similarities or similar symptoms manifest as a result of something else that we're going through. But I think that some of these things, while we may not be genetic and stuff, things we may experience in life, like depression and stuff like that, they may like tug at some of these other like mental illness disorders that we start to experience as a result of having said depression, having like different brain chemistry and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's not well understood. I mean, I feel like we're just starting to even normalize mental health, let alone to like dig into the science behind it.
And ways of treating it are still primitive compared to physical illness. After all, it is easy to see the pain and suffering caused by physical diseases or physical trauma. It is not so easy to see the mental suffering and trauma of severe mental illness. But what if we could find a way to see?
I think I was watching The Crown, and I know it's like, I don't know the whole family of the English royal family and stuff, but I learned only through The Crown that there were some parts of the royal family that had mental disorders, and what they did is they locked them away from the real world and made them disappear so that they could not be spoken about. No one could write about them, and it was pretty horrible what they did to them. They just kind of like made them not exist anymore because they didn't want the public to perceive that there were parts of the royal family who could potentially have these problems. And it's like, oh my god, like just how horrible that is.
Games are capable of drawing you in for hours on end, playing the role of a character who is different from you, experiencing their perspective, and
My son.
involving you in a world that functions with a different set of rules.
Yeah, I noticed it wasn't there
If we were to
anymore.
represent Senua psychosis, we would have to simulate voice hearing, a common attribute. But how can we simulate something we have no first-hand experience of? Professor Charles Fernyhough, a leading expert in voice hearing from Durham University, offered his help.
Hearing voices is an experience that is usually associated with severe mental illness, and crucially we know that hearing voices is a part of ordinary life.
Thanks for whoever used that humble bundle link.
Don't meet the criteria for mental illness.
Yeah. Oh, that's not him in real life.
We know voices vary according to where they appear in space. Voices can appear far away in the distance, they can appear right there in your ear, they can seem to be coming from inside your head.
That's something really cool that they did, was the fact that like it really did sound like the voices were distant and close and up in your ear and not, and it was really amazing part of the experience.
Based on the information Professor Fernyhough provided, I put together a sound brief and invited some actors to the studio. We recorded
Oh yeah, the narrator was 100% unreliable. I asked myself the same
3D
things.
position of sound,
Like,
replicating the way
who can we
sound is
trust?
heard
What
by
realities
human
are
ears.
true? What
It
truths
gives
are
you an
real?
incredible
What
sense that
voices
the
are
person
real?
you are listening to is right there beside you. Rachel Waddingham from the Voice Collective came to our studio with 2 young voice hearers to speak to our team. We talked at length about their experiences, and they listened to our tests, giving us feedback on how we could improve on it.
Everyone hates her. She's cursed.
It's very hard to represent what this experience is like, partly because it's such a personal, intense, emotional
And then
experience.
experiencing it after
It's
we
testament
record it.
to how Ninja Theory have been
It's
listening
like
to
how actors make a movie and then they don't know what's going to happen post-processing and what it looks like, and then you experience it on the big screen. You're like, whoa, this moment that probably felt really trivial to me came out as incredible when it was, you know, post-edit.
what the researchers are saying, but also crucially
Same
listening
issue.
to the experts by experience.
Thanks for watching it.
What they've come up with is so compelling. It's by far the best representation I've heard of what these experiences are like.
Other common attributes of psychosis are visions and flashbacks. We met with
That's
recovery
really sad,
college
Gorka.
who work with and care for people recovering from severe mental disorders. A group of service users gave us their first-hand account of what they experience.
Sometimes when the visions or what we're seeing is too much, it becomes more difficult until eventually we practice don't see anything.
The people we spoke to, the stories they told, were fascinating, harrowing and mind-boggling. The reality of what people experienced was vivid, far exceeding what I could possibly have imagined. We went away itching to represent some of these visions and flashbacks in the game.
As we all know, my heart is so, love is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper? I could never know how you grow all these
See you,
days
Cypher.
are killing me. Now I see deep in me insanity does unfold. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper.
Sometimes the world appears like a kaleidoscope and it can be beautiful. Yeah, like these scenes. When I move quickly, it's a strain on me. Things go too quick for my mind, they get blurred. I'm guessing these are accounts of like people with psychosis. I see, now I understand. These are all the portrayals they put into the game. The melting, the kaleidoscope. Like, you know what the interesting thing is they base the trials off of the fact that these are definite things that people with psychosis experience. Like, that's what the trials were, you know? The warping, the melting, the, like, loss of vision.
To refine our work, we continue to hold meetings with Recovery College East over the course of a year and a half, showing them what we had achieved so far and refining the in-game representations based on their feedback. With their help, flashbacks, visions and changes in perception were woven into the story and gameplay of Senua.
The students that are involved in this project are incredibly excited about being involved. They have described the experience as being important because it values their lived experience and shows that despite what we have been through, all of that experience becomes valid, that actually it's something that we should all be talking about.
The experiences described range from beautiful to frightening beyond comprehension. I heard of a girl who has to live with an angry voice screaming at her, slamming on her doors and walls 24 hours a day. I met someone who would often see hanging corpses in a room, so real that she would sometimes try to rescue them. The panic and fear that comes with such visions is entirely understandable, and it can be...
These are the things that are somewhat lost in the game as the player. Like, it's more enlightening to see this and then know that this is actually an account of someone with psychosis. But in the game, you're not sitting there and thinking like, oh, the reason like that these corpses are hanging from the ceiling is because someone with psychosis actually would have seen this. Like, these are the small details, you know?
...a living horror for some.
Worthless. Weak, pathetic. Go on, feel sorry for yourself, because there is no one left to do that for you.
I was urged by one fellow that we should not shy away from showing this horror, and so I was perpetually torn in making Hellblade. Had we gone too far with our representations or not far enough?
Broken and lost. Just like your soul.
And this is why she did this. Making her do things that don't make sense.
In some ways, voice hearing and visions were the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. There's another aspect of psychosis that is much harder to explain, but one that I think video games are uniquely able to represent, which are often called delusions.
People begin to see patterns in the world. They begin to link things that most people wouldn't link. Most of the things that we might think would be coincidence or, you know, not worth...
Yeah, and they're seeing too far into it.
Might have a particular salience or importance for them.
One individual described how everyday words, sounds, colours and objects were steeped in meaning to him, forming a strange and sinister puzzle that he was determined to solve but could not quite get to the bottom of.
it's not just brain dysfunction. It's not like the system shut down. It's actually an incredibly creative process. The person creates a world populated with voices and phantasms and terrors, and they're completely immersed in it. They believe in it.
We often invite people into the studio to play the game. In one of our playtests, they played through much of the game, making associations between runes, secret messages, and the threat of darkness that stalked them. There are many things that happen in the world of Hellblade that make perfect sense within the context of Senua's mind. The dark rot that's killing her slowly from within, the secret runes of the gods that block her path to Helheim, and strange associations that exist in the game to confuse you. To complete Senua's quest, you have to internalize and accept the logic and meaning behind these things to progress. Afterwards, they said that they didn't see much evidence of mental illness in the game. People with delusions of all sorts would argue the same thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing here as well. Like, unless you are someone that suffers from mental illness to some degree, you would think that this is just a game. It's just some thematic ways to scare you on this like trial of this person trying to save her love or whatever. This is just Norse mythology, and this is how dark and twisted the world is. You're not exactly thinking, oh, this is mental illness.
They are not aware of their experience being abnormal in any way.
Yeah.
I need this sword. It's important.
Representing perception changes and thinking patterns within Hellblade gives us a set of symptoms common in psychosis. But people with lived experience were keen to emphasize another point, that it is wrong to define a person by their symptoms. Quite often, the illness comes not from the symptoms, but from the stigma, isolation, and mistreatment that comes about from the rest of society.
That's a fair interpretation. Her father.
What if they're right?
Dillion.
I needed someone to portray Senua, someone who could believably internalize her suffering. Melina Jurgens,
so it didn't
our video
actually
editor,
do anything then.
had been a stand-in for Senua over a few months while we perfected our motion capture techniques. Without realizing it, she had already auditioned for the role, and I knew her well enough to know that I didn't have to teach her to act, but to relive her own internal pain. As often is the case, those who have suffered mental anguish are never far from us.
That's sad.
My hope is that by creating a compelling and aspirational character in Senua who feels very much real, albeit in a fantasy setting, we can provide a lens into her reality, a different one to yours, and this is where storytelling comes into play. I imagined her life based on common threads in real people's lives. She was always prone to psychosis as a child. Her mother Galina also heard voices and had visions, so perhaps there was a genetic aspect.
Yep.
Or perhaps it was cultural, as she lived within a world without science, of gods and a superstition, as exemplified by her druid father Zimbal. Psychosis developed in her late teens to early 20s and was exasperated by stigma and isolation at the hands of the clansmen and her father.
This darkness. It's spreading.
The trauma of seeing her lover Dillion sacrificed tips her over the edge, making her remodel her reality around a concept that connects everything.
I mean, the interesting thing about it, Pauline, is it's not like a tooltip in the game told you. Like, have you noticed there's never a point where there's a tooltip at all? Like, it's a game with zero tooltips. There's no random text saying press A, press B, press whatever. They just, something tells you in the game that if you die, then you will die like this, and you should make sure she doesn't fail. I think like they write it on the screen like failure means or whatever, but like there's no like inherent game mechanics that say so. And then the only way that I learned the controls was just going into the start menu, like, or just experimenting. But there was nothing that told me like, now jump, now do this, now, which is actually a really interesting way to do a game, right? Where it's like the voices were kind of giving you part of that. They were part of that experience, but it was more just like you fumbling through this word. You're right. I do remember now some text coming up on screen, but I don't know if that was necessarily a tooltip. I can't remember how it transitioned into that. Lose the whole playthrough, and I guess people were just upset about that.
The darkness. So the question is, what Senua experiences real?
Maybe
Only
she'll be
answer
better
is
this time around,
yes,
Lily, with
it is real.
experience.
It is her reality.
All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time.
Towards the end of the project, service
Yeah.
users and professionals that had
That's it.
collaborated with us were invited to see the near final game. It was a chance to see if the game
Devil
had
May
reflected
Cry.
their views or if it
I saw
had
some similarities in
misrepresented
the DMC game in this.
Me being involved in especially developing.
There's one thing
Senua's
that
character
Ninja
has been
Theory was really good in the
important,
DMC
and
game
being able
was
to bring
level
in my
design, and
perspective
it
and what I
definitely
see
showed
and what
here
I
too.
hear. And having that built into the game has been a real privilege. It's gritty and it's meaty, and there are some tough subjects in there that are being tackled with honesty.
I think it adds to the experience if they tell you that dying is bad.
I was blown away by it today, absolutely blown away. It was just fantastic to get the opportunity to use our lived experience in a very creative way. There's nothing tokenistic about the work we've put in. It feels
That's
like
also
we've been listening
like
to.
another game I want to play. It was a Heavenly Sword. I didn't know Enslaved was also part of them, but I really did like DMC. Heavenly Sword is one I want to experience as well.
Things have been taken on board, and I think there was a lot of realism in the game itself, and it feels very authentic.
Hellblade will give people a good experience of what it's like to hear voices and have those experiences. I'm glad that the guys at Ninja Theory kind of asked us to come along and help them build an experience that's positive when it comes out, and get myself a copy and have a go.
Plaguebringer, isn't that Plague Tales? Oh yeah, Benny was saying the same thing. I can put it in the cards.
I think all the way through, I was really inspired by how the conversations have translated into the game in a way that I think I didn't imagine was possible. So wonderful, really wonderful.
I really hope that others will follow the lead they've set and use the power of something like a video game to change people's perceptions, to increase understanding, and ultimately to make some of the stigma around voice hearing and other experiences go away.
For me, it was really exciting to see something that I explore scientifically being represented so beautifully in a character who's trying to penetrate the mysteries of the environment in which they've been placed, with all of this
really
strange
good
uncertainty and noise and conflicting
incredible
information
experience.
that they're getting. I'm very excited by this way of trying to represent mental illness, because I think it actually might be offering us insights that we wouldn't get from pure
I see,
scientific
Vorpal.
explorations, and actually giving us quite an empathic view of what it might be like.
Mental illness has been with us for as long as we have been on this planet, but why? Why has an evolution stamped out this weakness from within our gene pool? I often pondered this question until I realized that the question had an inbuilt flaw.
I see what you
It
mean,
assumes that
Gorka.
being
That's a very interesting point, where it's like, if you are told this is the reality, a person with psychosis literally feels the same way, where they see things where they're not, and they believe it's real. In a way, they're trying to make you step into the person with psychosis's shoes to feel that this is a real threat, perceive it, and deal with it that way. And then at the end, for you to be told, oh, it wasn't even real all along. And you're like, no way, it felt real. You know, like, that was not real. Then what did I experience? Like, and then you experience the secondhand feeling of like, oh wow. But I can understand, like, when we remove all of these layers, and if you're like, sometimes, Gorka, people play games not to, like, you know how you always get that one person on like Twitter or social media or Reddit, it's like, I'm not playing games because there's no deeper meaning or message in this. It's just a game. You know, like that kind of take. There are some people, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people playing these games. There are some people that play games just for a game and not to see the meaning behind it, or to look for it, or to seek it, or to watch something afterwards. So for them, they see a game mechanic and they're like, I was lied to. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with people that just play games just for the simplicity and enjoyment of playing a game, you know? But it's just how some people like just refuse to want to see anything more than it. It's just a take. Did I say it's just a game? I'm probably saying weird stuff now. This is a feature film from inside the game, Apollo. There's also some other stuff on YouTube I was gonna maybe check out.
Thinking differently is a weakness. The only reason we have computers, spacecraft, medicine, poetry, art, and yes, even video games is because
Mr.
individuals
Incredible
are able to simulate new abstract realities in their minds and share them with the rest of us. We need people to be willing to see differently in order for us to progress and survive as society. And we need to be open to the...
That's a beautiful like sentiment right there. We need people to see differently so we can progress as a society. That's the one thing that's been pissing me off on Twitter recently. I'm sure you've all seen the drama with was it a girl playing Valorant and then someone basically like threatens to rape her. And then all the incels in the world have like flooded to Twitter now to basically mock anyone who's, you know, saying that women don't deserve this. And there should be a place in gaming for women, and this is not right. But it's that same problem where there are people in this world who refuse to change their reality. And they will not grow as people, and we will not grow as a society because they refuse to see differently. It's not just, I mean, I think the discourse has probably escaped just Twitter, but like this massive like clip was shared on there and everyone has been talking about it. Just like how awful people are in online games. Yeah, the terrible part about it isn't the fact that people are talking about this clip. It's about the incels that have come out of the woodwork to basically say you need to toughen up or don't pick a fight that you can't win and all of that kind of nonsense, you know? It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's just, that's the frustrating. It's like when you go into the comments, it's just hundreds of incels. And it's like, wow. Okay.
These new ways of seeing. And it is this spirit that motivated me to create Senua's story and share it with you.
It's not one, so many. If you'd like to find out more about psychosis. Okay. I see. When the game first came out, the reviews from critics also came out the same day. That's meaning most of the critic reviews were rushed for the job, which is understandable. Gotta make money, but the game was not seen the way it is now on day one. I don't know. I feel like you can give a critic the code to the game ahead of time. And then they'll have time to review it and release it, and the embargo will be the same day of release. I don't really know what the industry reason is for delaying reviews and only having them on launch day, whether they just don't want to influence people's purchasing power or if there was something else there. I don't know, or worried about leaks or how people are going to perceive the game. Whatever it is, there's something there, but there's I have critic friends and they have time to sometimes just sit with the game for a while before they get to like really write or express their opinion. So I don't think they just gave them the game like a day before and said, okay, now review. If the game is bad, they want to delay the reviews so people buy their games. I don't know if it's necessarily going to make me buy their game just because the review isn't out yet. But then again, like we live in a world where there's just so much stuff coming out now. I don't find the need for pre-orders or anything like that, unless I feel like it's supporting the company. Like if it's like an early access and it's like an indie company, and I think I'm definitely like supporting the company and the progress of this game, then I'll do it. Is this the same thing, by the way? So I found this on YouTube, and this is the videos I found. This is behind the scenes Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice making of Neo Gamer, the video game archive. Maybe this is different. And I've also found, don't know if I'm gonna do the dev diary now. And I just thought maybe it'd be cool to watch the Ragnarok trailer. But oh yeah, run of the mill, sure. Her face looks slightly different in the game. Like, it's not completely like, looks like this model. They've definitely made some changes. But maybe it's just like the hair and everything and the makeup and the blood, and that really makes her look so different. I think they probably do that for most mocap stuff, jerseys. Like, they just have some props to just like illustrate they're using something that looks like a weapon. Yeah, maybe. The brows are definitely more defined.
Evil's arrived.
I feel like the guy from Friends. It's really cool how games are made. Like, it's so sad that people still rip on like gaming and stuff, because like this game is a prime example of a game, and not that all games need to be this. It is an experience, it is educational, it is insightful, and it serves to be like a medium that you can definitely make a movie with this. You could definitely do a TV show, but there's just something different about playing and picking up this controller and playing a character that has psychosis versus just witnessing it. Like, and people just don't understand that like video games are just allowing us to put ourselves in the shoes of other characters. And that's literally why we have RPG characters that have no names and no personalities and no nothing, because we need to be able to insert ourselves into those characters. Hey Sprats, how are you? Shh.
Someone's here.
That's funny. I like how also they're designing the cracks in her face paint. Not people not worth arguing with, honestly, Cypher. Yeah, it's sad, but you know what? These are testaments of art pieces. Like, you can tear down the people that made the studio that made the game, but you can't really. They can't destroy the game itself. It already exists out there as a piece of art. Yeah, it's like also like reading as well. Reading is a form of escape. It's about diving into a world, not ours, to experience something and to step away from our own reality. Like, oh, heck. Ads. Like, it's no different, really. But for whatever reason, it's a more like... I think books are like the first form of escapism that we had in terms of like... a medium. Now there's just video games too. don't think I would like to live in a Viking world because there's a lot of brutality and I mean there's probably a lot of brutalities in a lot of societies and cultures, but there's a lot in the Viking world.
What is she leaving behind? It's not too late to get into the
I don't
boat
like
and go
warring
back.
cultures
No one
and
will judge
worlds,
her.
honestly.
No one will ever know.
Also, being a woman in a Viking period? No thanks. Sounds terrifying. But I'm also someone that doesn't really like World War reenactments and things like that, because I find it very weird to like, at least personally, idolize like wars and replicate them and follow in the footsteps and the marches of people who did partake in these kinds of things. It just doesn't feel like it's almost like a romanticization of it. And I don't know, I feel like there's more brutality. There's so much brutality. And I'm not a fan of that. I think studying history and being fascinated by history is very different than wanting to put yourself in the shoes of these people. This is her death scene, I guess. Or her supposed death scene. I think the interesting thing, serial killers and shows about serial killers is a very new field where like very recently we started diving into the mind of a serial killer, what makes them tick and stuff like that. In a way, it's fascinating for us as normal people to see what drives people to such lengths to do the things they do. But I think it's more of the people want to look at like what makes people the way they are, what makes them tick, and understand that, like the villainy or whatever, more than like necessarily the romanticization of them. At least that's for me. I feel like if I witness a serial killer, I'm understanding the evil within and why it happens, and I can make sense of it as a normal person. Because it's inconceivable for me to think that someone could do that to someone else, but inconceivable.
Right. Oh, you see little front teeth. Hey, oh, hello.
That was written by AI. Nice. Yeah, like you have to wonder, like when people are making like documentaries and TV series about these like serial killers, are they doing to tell a story that might not elsewise be known? Or are we doing it for entertainment? I don't know. That probably is both. Humans just love to just watch weird stuff. I don't know.
I will tell you my stories of hell.
Showing awareness of where we have come from. For example, I was once being a Victorian for a day. Someone came, 5 or 6 children with them. I say, do you own all of these snipes? I asked them, you know, once they reach age of 6, they're done with schooling, we can get them involved in factory.
Action.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, there'll be a bit of movement.
I see what you mean, but I meant mostly in the like dressing of like people who go to war, the battles themselves, and the marches and the guns and all that kind of stuff, personally.
Your father cannot understand your darkness.
You want to speak to your daddy?
Hi, Dad.
Once again, hell is reaching deep inside of her.
Feel your way towards the source.
Please stop. You'll never come back if you go there.
You will die here. and all your suffering.
I think that's the fun part there, where it's like you see the two voice actors for the voices, like the way they're like also dancing around the room and mocking you at the same time. Stuff like that's like pretty cool.
Have been for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the intent of the people is, but like when you witness it from afar, it feels weird. Like, I haven't ever spoken to someone who's in reenactments to ask them about this. Like, I know memorials are things, tributes are things, and stuff like that. Remembrances are things, but I never... Yeah, I wonder what the development process was this. Like, how long did it take? So it makes me feel like we were fighting, in our minds, Norsemen. Like, at least like the depictions of them felt very like accurate to what you would imagine a Viking would be. Bye, MB. Enjoy that nap. It seems like it would be fun to work on a game, like development like this.
Go on then, just a bit more.
Do you wanna build a snowman?
Oh god.
Let's go outside and play.
Beautiful singing voice, beautiful.
Alright. Sometimes you gotta get those bloopers. Okay, let's watch the trailer, then we're gonna do something else, okay? The trailer for Ragnarok comes out next week, chat.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end. The sun will grow black.
Oh, different areas. A lot of them are from Norway. Sprats.
Water will meet. Flames will play against the sky.
Denmark.
Heavens and earth and all the world will be burned. All the gods will be dead. And the warriors of Valhalla and people everywhere.
For Ragnarok, for it is
Wait,
not.
isn't this the... What? No, this is the wrong trailer. What the heck is this? Senua's Saga. Thank you. That's what I wanted. Ah! No. Stop. I don't want to help you, YouTube. Thank you. In Iceland, yeah, they... Like I said, they had creators flown out to Iceland. I've seen stuff on social media. It's pretty cool.
Of fear and fury. Do you hear it? The heartbeat of the lost ones. I can feel them on my skin.
Like, I don't know if this is from... Hold on, I'm gonna start this again from the beginning.
I've dreamt of this. This place of fear and fury. Do you hear it? The heartbeat of the lost ones. I can feel them on my skin.
Like, I don't know if this is the in-game engine and if this is like footage from in-game. Look at the just like details of the scarring and like the pores and all of the stuff of the face.
Each death inked in blood.
Vinland.
I won't stop fighting for them. Until the very last beat fades away.
I'm really excited to see the music direction for this one. Nice. We seem to have a hatchet or something this time.
You want the truth? All the lives inside me tell me to let go. The shadow will always hang over me.
The shadow, her father. Interesting. We seem to meet people on this journey, unlike the first game. It's gonna be really interesting to see if she can tell the difference between psychosis and reality now. Did we die though? I don't know.
What will I become?
Can we really believe that she did die? Okay. Yeah, I think like there was a death of the part of her that was with Dillion, is what I've basically interpreted that whole scene where like Hella like stabs her and stuff like that. Yeah. It's it'll be on Game Pass. It'll be on Game Pass. Yeah, I think that there was more of a meaning there than just like, oh, okay, she actually died. Timed exclusive. How long do we know whether okay. Words are hard. How long do they have hold of this? It's 8 minutes. Iceland development. Is that the one you just linked? The diary?
With Senua's saga Hellblade 2's development well underway, we want to take you behind the scenes of how we're making the next
I would like
chapter
to go to
in
Iceland.
Senua's story, and just as importantly, why we take the approach we do. Just like with Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, we want to take you on our development journey with us.
I think these are always interesting. Not enough games do the
Our
development
first
journey.
stop in this new series
or
of dev
documentaries.
diaries is to look at how we've captured and realised Saga's location, Iceland, and in particular, how we're building a believable world that our players can sink themselves into.
Okay, bye Lily. We might be
Dan,
playing
I'm the
Anatria
environment
today.
director here at Ninja Theory. After we decided that the locations would be based on real places within Iceland, we realised that we needed to get some pretty good reference for that. You can get so far by just looking on the internet and Googling these different places, but it's kind of not enough. You need to stand there.
I think the only thing that's deterring the temptation is how expensive it is, Gav.
Relying on a location over 800 miles away across the North Atlantic Ocean
Yeah, it's based in
presents a number
Iceland.
of challenges,
Iceland?
particularly
yeah.
when ground truth
I'm
reference
tempted
is
to say
so
Ireland.
critical to achieving the level of realism we need. Our environment art team had to find creative solutions to overcome these challenges.
First of all, when we knew that we were going to choose Iceland, like the first thing what we did is we wanted to see if we could get elevation data for the entire island itself, which we found. So we got some pretty good resolution data, which was about 2 meters per pixel. But then we soon realized that even at that resolution, it wasn't to the level that was going to work when you're down kind of at ground level with the player. So we needed to find a way of up-resing that. We ended up settling on a service called Drone Deploy, which allows us to map out a capture grid, which is like a flight plan for the drone. You download that to the drone goes up, it takes pictures every few...
This is the really impressive thing about like the development of this game. They're not just saying we're gonna make a random piece of land and then like we're gonna say that this is like Iceland. They're like actually mapping it out so that they can create this area out for us. Like And then dealing with the challenges of taking that information and actually being able to create it into a world.
2 meters, you take all of those pictures and then you feed them into the computer, and then it, through a process called photogrammetry, it recreates that area in 3D. So we've got a 3D model of that location to something like 7 centimeters per pixel resolution compared to 2 meters.
With a technical solution in place, we were then struck with unexpected news. When the pandemic took hold across the world, our team was sent home to work and all flights were grounded. It was impossible to visit Iceland.
Oh
and so
wow,
we needed
they
to
worked
find
on
a
this
way
during the
to capture
pandemic, that makes
Iceland
sense.
without actually being able to go there.
We had our
Yeah, I
initial
like
trip
games that do
planned
that,
and ready to
Strats.
go, all specced out, tickets bought, hotels booked, and then the pandemic hit, so that basically scuppered that. We needed to kind of find another way to help us out in the meantime. Initially, we'd been in contact with
Nice,
a
horrible.
photographer and guide.
Yeah, that's what I was
out
gonna
in
say,
Iceland
Fallout
called
games
Chris
are
Lind,
like that as
who
well.
had helped us out with the initial location scouting, who had guided us around on our very first trip a few years ago.
I'm Christopher Lund. I'm an Icelandic landscape photographer based in Reykjavik, Iceland. What's unique about Iceland is that you have a lot of variation in landscapes, and you don't have to travel very far. Like, you have this in other countries, but you have to sometimes travel days to
Yeah.
be in something
have that
completely
mix.
different. Here you can be shooting on a black beach on a very barren landscape, and then you drive for half an hour and it's lush and green and dramatic waterfalls. This is the reason for Iceland being chosen for the game.
It's pretty.
A lot of my work is me just looking over weather charts and trying to maximize, the shooting time at each location. A lot of these maps are quite large scale, so the drone needs to go, and it has like a 25-minute battery life, and then it has to land and have to change the batteries. And some of these missions are 3 battery switches over an hour of shooting, and the light can change in that time frame quite often. Another factor is strong wind. You can't fly in a very strong wind, so that could also be an issue, and of course rain is a no-go. What I've seen from the development of the game is amazing. Just the quality of the graphics and how lifelike it is.
We spent a lot of time working with him like that remotely, which actually worked out fantastically because he's on tap, he's right there. If we want to go and recapture somewhere else or pick out some other details, we can just give him our flight plans for the drone-based photogrammetry, give him detailed breakdowns of what the things we want scanning, and we could send him out and do our
this must have
bidding for
cost a
him.
lot to do.
Eventually, the world returned to some kind of normality. Our team could work in our studio again.
I know
and the much
Solenborg said
anticipated
he
visit
went to some of the
Iceland could be
locations, I
scheduled.
think.
We realised that we needed to
Was
go
this
kind
Solenborg?
of bigger,
Might have
so
been
we
Vorpal.
basically completely replanned the
From
trip
Vegas.
from scratch. We added 21
No,
locations,
this is just
2,500 kilometres
a
worth of
dev
travel
diary for
over
the making
11
of
days,
Hellblade.
which is pretty ambitious. But we kind of felt that we needed to sort of cram it in as much as possible. We'd been waiting all this time, so we just needed
I
to
know,
get out there and
I
kinda
get the
hit it as hard
Pokemon
as we
joke.
could. I've been lucky
Sometimes
enough
I
to
just gotta
previously
reply
been
to you
out,
with serious
so
humor.
Kind of felt like I was always
Take
banging
you
on
seriously.
about what it's like to be there. And with the other guys in the environment art team, they had to kind of take my word for it. It was essential that they come and kind of experienced it too. If anything, it's quite exciting to kind of go, look, this is how it feels. This is what it feels like to stand on the edge of this crazy looking rock face or this cliff kind of thing. Getting the guys out there
That's
to
cool.
see it in the flesh is like, takes us back to the point about reference. It's about, there's only so much you can get from a photo. It was so valuable to have us all on the same page. We're all singing from the same hymn sheet.
Of course, our work to realise Iceland was based on ground truth reference from modern day. It's important that along with capturing the landscapes, we also bring to life the reality of Iceland as it was in the 10th century.
So outside of visiting Iceland and experiencing the locations, we knew that we wanted to
It
be
must have been miserable
faithful
living
to
in
the
Iceland
other
back then.
things that we put in it. So once you start thinking about like the structures and the man-made things that are going to be in the game, we want to approach those in the same way as we've approached the environment itself. Again, reference is key to this. We don't want to make what we think it looks like. We want to get as much reference gathering as possible and be as faithful to what the real thing would have looked like. When we were looking at some of the turf houses, which are the technique they used to use to build their houses. So it's like a timber frame cladded in lumps of earth and which had like kind of grass growing on and things like that. You spend a lot of time dissecting that, watching videos on people building them, trying to break it down into its component parts and being as faithful to that.
And the weather here, Jersey.
Similarly for things
very also like isolated,
make,
just
like various kind of trinkets or idols or different smaller props and things like that. We decided to see if we could make those by hand and then scan those, sticking faithfully to this idea that photogrammetry gives you that extra added level of detail and believability. That led us to set up some small-scale photogrammetry in the studio, which we've got, then we use as much as we possibly can, scanning things like bones and totem poles that have been carved by ourselves. The level of realism that we're aiming for.
We made these
really
things, we
help
put
with
them in the
immersion
game.
Of the experience. It kind of stops you from questioning the space you're in. If we are using all of this kind of reference and these scanned items and things like that. As an environment artist working on this project, it's kind of the project that I've always wanted to make. And you could probably say the same thing for the other guys as well. It's having that ability to recreate something and then putting a slight spin on it yourself. And it's being truthful to the reference, which is quite exciting.
Okay. Cool. The setting of the next game.
Awesome. Nice. Well, the only thing we didn't do is we didn't watch theories about what the first game is about and video essays and breaking it down to the most atomic level. But definitely something that we can do. I'm going to do to some extent this weekend, perhaps. But yeah, if you want to play a game this weekend, this is probably a really good one. It's short enough to get through in the weekend. It's definitely thought-provoking and visceral and immersive. So if you want to lose yourself in the game, this could be one you can lose it. But just know it's pretty intense, pretty dark. I've seen it live, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. They were very impressive. Like, even though I've only just played this game, like, I've known about Hellblade for a really long time. It's a game that I've been just wanting to play forever now. And I'm finally glad that I've taken it out of my backlog and played it. Well, I'm sure there's some deeper meanings maybe there, and even though that maybe it is simplistic once you think about it that way, but there's probably some deeper stuff there. Okay. Let's see. I'm thinking of doing this. Instead of like calling this stream here, I'm thinking about swapping over and playing something else. So perhaps what we can do now, I'm gonna end the stream on YouTube for now.